Everyone gets a cameo in the new Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus. From the farthest reaches of the galaxy, the Midwest, Beyond the Blast Doors is live on this Wednesday, episode 110. So glad you're with us. Usually we're live 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. PT on the YouTubes, but things change when you're having fun. You can always catch us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Patreon. Of course, the good old YouTube is probably the best place to catch us because we're a visual show. You're wondering who's talking. It's David Amilati, your host. Glad to be with you. And I'm joined, as always, with Arezou Amin, Scotty, J-Ro. Friends, how are we doing on this Wednesday night?
Oh, we're rolling. We are going with it.
We're still mad at Scotty for not finishing Light of the Jedi, but that's the whole other issue.
I don't mean for this to be a bit. This feels like the bring Cad Bane back. But every week, Arezou comes in here and she's like, look, Scotty hasn't finished reading the book. And you know what I promised her? I'm on a road trip this weekend with some family to go visit another family member. And I have headphones in, playing my Switch in the back seat. I'm going to be like a little kid. That's what I'm going to do. Put my Star Wars book on and go just have fun. Arezou.
By Sunday afternoon, if you haven't texted and said you're done, I'm texting you spoilers.
Just out.
Scotty mentioned it, so we'll mention it now. We want to bring Cad Bane back here on Beyond the Blast Doors live. We do this every week. Help us with the effort. Listen, all it is I just want to see this guy back. Scotty's not really attached to this. Arezou's not probably attached to this, but really want to see Cad Bane back. I'd like to see him live action. I'd like to see him in any form. I think it would be great, and we can all make it happen. Just tweet hashtag bring Cad Bane back and tag us, the good people here at Beyond the Blast Doors live at BTBD Star Wars. There's Obi-Wan Kenobi casting news. Katee Sackhoff is talking about what her character of Bo Katan hasn't earned from the audience after season 2 of The Mandalorian, and a lot more goodies. We got comic book news. We're going to be joined with BeyondTheBlastDoors.com, Marie Wilson, in less than 10 minutes, and we're going to talk about comics out this week. Speaking of BeyondTheBlastDoors.com, recently, Pete Fletcher, 10 Things You Didn't Know About the Character of Boba Fett, ties in perfectly with his guest this week on Around the Galaxy. Check it out after the show later. Watch our show, then go watch his show. You know, like, you're here now, you might as well watch the show.
Just stay.
It's just, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. It's such a weird week. You know, the pandemic feels like the end is in sight by like 3 or 4 months, whatever that looks like. And yet the stresses of reality still like really like bearing down. And so wanting to have fun in the next, 45 minutes or so, talking all these great Star Wars things. I'm going to brag about. So we joke about like Pete Fletcher has like this like stupid collection of like Funko Pops and Hasbro Black figures,
which he's
Black
selling.
Series figures, which he's selling. And
yeah,
just so you know, I'm the guy that bought the Rebel slate. They're all right there behind me. It's Ezra,
no, you did not.
And
no
Kanan.
way.
That's Hera. That's Sabine. This is Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka's great because Ahsoka is like wow. And I also have the original Ahsoka, which I'm really excited about. I almost put it in like this, but you have to put it in like this because the mural, the spine shows. And so then you got Zeb. Zeb's cool. Zeb's a larger box. Yeah, I mean, Zeb's a larger guy, male of his species. I probably shouldn't call him a guy. That's rude. So I'll slide that in, and then we got wow, I almost said Booster. I almost said Booster from Jingle All the Way. No one likes you, Booster, but this is Chopper, which I didn't
like Chopper.
Yeah, we like Chopper. I didn't like Chopper at the beginning. I thought it was stupid. I'm like, why do we, we don't have to make these droids clowns. Like R2 is fun with that. Chopper grew on me. No hate here for Chopper. Don't at me. And then here's the thing. So I've got a lot going on in my personal life. Arezou does, Scotty does, Pete does, everybody right now with the network does. It's incredible that we still get 5 shows on a week. Every night, Monday through Friday, we get a show on the network. These were a little delayed in getting to me. And so because he felt bad, Pete sent me Dark Ray.
There we go.
And I'll tell you what, this makes me really happy because this was a figure I was like, man, I really want it. And I couldn't find it anywhere in Iowa. And it really upset me. And I just the figure looks sweet. The lightsaber like can be bent to like be double-ended, but right now it's like, folded up. But it just looks awesome. It just looks freaking cool. And I'm not unboxing these. And you've already seen them. But
here
this
he
is This is Cad Bane, baby. Bring Cad Bane back. That's what we preach here on Beyond the Blast Doors Live. And
half of this episode's gonna be me and Arezou shaking our heads every time you bring up Cad Bane. We're just gonna go
bring Cad Bane.
Every episode. Here's my pledge in 2021, and I should have made this a couple months ago. This would have been a good New Year's resolution. There is always going to be some prequel love, some OT love, and some ST love. That's almost sounded like STD love, and I wasn't trying to go for that, but it sounded like it. But I meant ST as in sequel trilogy, and so this is some of the PT love. That also sounds like a disease, but this is Jar Jar's figure, and Jar Jar's figure looks fantastic, right? Looks absolutely fantastic. So I got all those lined up. I think I'll keep them there, honestly, because I think they kind of look good right there. Like, that's good. Got the Legos behind me. Anyways, this has gone on long enough. What are we talking about this week? That's right. Obi-Wan Kenobi. There is. Oh wait, this is the Daisy Ridley graphic. Well, that's all right. You know, we're just flying by our seat of our pants. We'll touch on this first. That's fine. Daisy Ridley does this interview with Comedy Central this past week, and she has a bunch of great lines. And again, this is Comedy Central, friends. Like, we're not trying to be very serious. It's not like we're doing a variety article. We're not doing Entertainment Tonight. This is Comedy Central. And so she gets asked about the heritage of Rey, and she's like, well, I'm Rey Skywalker, but I should be Rey Palpatine, but I'm Rey Skywalker, even though Luke was a bit of a dick to me. And you know what? The whole interview is great. It's like there's a very long interview. There's a 10-minute clip. Go check it out. You can find it online. I thought it was super refreshing to see Daisy so relaxed and having fun and poking fun at the silliness that is Star Wars, because that's what it is. That's what Star Wars is, silliness. We've watched the interview here. We've at least seen bits and pieces about it. Arezou, I mean, just kind of reaction. I mean, there are people that are really stamping their feet in the ground, and they're using this as an opportunity to be like, oh, see, the sequel trilogy didn't work out. But can't we just appreciate an actor just having fun talking about Star Wars?
Well, yeah. I mean, clearly she's poking fun. I mean, the guy's the one that wrote all the lines, and there's some definite like stuff that I can't say here because we're gonna get like strikes in some way. Like, that was the kind of joke she was making. But yeah, I don't know. I saw it out of context at first, and then her going, yeah, Rey Skywalker, like, deeply upset me. But then I realized it was Comedy Central, and I'm like, okay, that's fine then.
Yeah, she's talking with Josh Horowitz. I mean, it's not like we're sitting
I didn't see the context at first. So she's going, well, Rey Skywalker, but it should be Rey Palpatine. But actually, I'm just Rey. Actually, no, yeah, Rey Skywalker. And then having her settle on that, like, y'all know I don't vibe with Rey Skywalker at all. Yeah. So that upset me. But then I'm like, oh, it's Comedy Central. And then like the next joke she made, I'm like, okay, that's cool. We're all just kidding. It's still not, we're not taking it seriously, so it's fine.
She had this quote. It says, I think for me, the beauty of episode 9 is its end with such hope and such potential. She said, I just feel like that was Rey's perfect ending. The big battle was in episodes 7, 8, and 9. I think really she's probably running around the forest somewhere having a great time. I feel totally, totally satisfied with how this story finished. I just don't know what else she could do that I didn't have to do. Scotty, let's send things over to you here, because I think that there's some people who would love to see Rey rebuilding the Jedi or rebuilding some kind of order of Force users. You know, how did that comment strike you when you were watching this interview?
Okay, in regards to Rey possibly rebuilding the Jedi Order, I would love to see it happen. I would love if we did end up getting a sequel trilogy or something along the lines of that, just a story afterwards that's, maybe not an episodic film. But if we get anything with Rey, of course, I feel like she's down to return. I know she loves the character. Give her maybe an interesting villain. Don't make him a Jedi. Make him something different. I mean, we know the Nile works, right? I mean, I got like 25% of the book is left for me in Light of the Jedi. And the Nile have been the coolest villains because of what they believe in and what they strive for. And it's just chaos, and it's just weird hierarchy thing. It's like a play on capitalism in a weird way too. Like I want a villain that will, someone that she doesn't have to be a counterpart with. I want to see something really different from Rey's next story.
No more Palpatine either. Like, that's it. Yeah. We don't ever need Palpatine again. Not in the Acolyte, not in anything in the future. We just do not. We have surpassed the need for Palpatine.
Well, see, here's where I'm going to disagree, though, because I think that even though we know the Acolyte is set up to be this female-led story, you could, if you don't have a Palpatine, you could have a Plagueis tie-in, which could be a nod to the. Here's my thing. I think that as long as you play in that sandbox of episode 1, episode 9, you always have the potential. And if it makes sense for him to be there, he's be there. So what? But we know that he's gone after episode 9. So if we're going to get a story with these characters post episode 9, there's no way he turns back around. I was in the camp that Thrawn.
6.
Yeah.
Well, he
blew
did
up in episode 6.
He canon has been rewritten since the mid 80s, and he went down a tube, and then he transferred his spirit to another less strong corpse on the other side of the galaxy on a Sith planet known as Exegol.
I love taking a huge swig of something crazy and writing a screenplay. Let me tell you.
You'd think I was making that up, but that's the shit that happened.
Yes.
You tell somebody that, and they're like, where was that? I'm like, it was in the interview that they did after the fact when they realized that they didn't put the information in the movie and that they had to put it in the novelization because they didn't put the information in the movie.
I agree with it. The only valid thing we get out of all of that is that Plagueis was trying to do that too in the novel. Now we know that's not canon either. But okay, one thing I will say, and this is going on a Palpatine tangent, the only place I would like to see him show up again that would make sense is in Kenobi. Because then you would get just all the prequel people showing up, right? You could get Vader, you can get Rex or Cody, you can get then Ahsoka showing up, which is apparently on the table. Not to give any credence to any leaks or rumors, but you never know. So I don't know. Palpatine, yeah, post sequel trilogy, he's got to be done. I mean, you keep relying on an old narrative. You're literally beating a dead horse. So let's move past that. I agree with Arezou. So Rey's next story should really deal with something that we haven't approached in Star Wars, right? We've approached family problems. We've approached all the problems of war. Maybe it's something completely different. Maybe it's something we haven't discussed. Maybe an eternal conflict that doesn't have to do with your family and who you're related to. Just saying.
Thank you.
It could be like a force imbalance, which I guess we kind of said the force is imbalance at the end of episode 9. But yep. I really like the idea of what George Lucas was playing with in his drafts of what the sequel trilogy would be, which is let's go micro the force and let's see how this mechanism really does allow the galaxy reality to function. I think that would be really fun. And, you have so many good memories with the father and the son and the daughter from Clone Wars and again in Rebels. I just went back and watched World Between Worlds in Rebels and just exceptional storytelling. And maybe it only works because it was in animation. And honestly, Dave Filoni got to the point where he could do no wrong with most fans. But if you could somehow tie in Mortis in live action, oh my goodness. I mean, just look what Jon Favreau is doing with $10 million per episode. Imagine what we can do now with a theatrical release if hopefully we're still going to the theaters in a decade from now. It would be super cool. We want to know what you think. Let us know down in the comments down below to continue the Star Wars conversation. Let's go ahead and check out what folks are saying in the live chat because I think
Alex.
Go ahead, pull them up.
Alex Klump at a statement that I kind of love because this is the dynamic. David's got his Cad Bane thing. Arezou has her Padme thing. And Scotty has his Jar Jar thing. I mean, he's right. He's right.
And you know what? I think it's important that we all have our thing. There should all be a cause that we stand for. And we stand for Star Wars stuff. And I think it's great. Listen to this, though. Nick comes in here. I respectfully disagree about Rey Skywalker. I think the power of found family in Star Wars is so powerful, and Rey was given the power to choose hers. Now, before Arezou goes after Nick, I will say this.
I'm not going to go after Nick. I know how to behave.
Oh, no, I know you do. I know you do. We could just see you leaning forward a little bit in your chair. I will say this. I've got a lot of friends who are adopted that found something in that scene, which I think is great. I still don't think it makes sense. Arezou, proceed.
I'm not here to take that from anybody. I do know people who, same thing, adopted, found meaning in that scene. Mm-hmm. In isolation, there's nothing wrong with it. Mm-hmm. But here's my problem.
Yeah.
Rey's narrative from episode 7 through to the end of 8 has always been her unhealthy attachment to other figures. She wants to find meaning in the parents that aren't coming. She wants to find meaning in Han Solo, in Luke, in Leia. And the thesis of 8, granted, Kylo did not deliver this in the best way, but the thesis in 8 is that there is nobody making her important. And it's on her to find her power, her position, her place in the galaxy. And that's her thing going into episode 9 now, with her being the last Jedi as far as she knows, because Luke's not there. It's on her to now become Rey, the last Jedi.
Yep.
But now you've got episode 9, where I know people are saying that, having her be the granddaughter of Palpatine, it's like, well, there's that darkness in her, but that was already there because of her like situation in life. We don't need it to be genetic. We have heard it said by the admission of the writers that the reason she's a Palpatine is to explain her power to people who didn't believe it. So I have a hard time seeing it from a canon perspective when I know it was done in bad faith. It was done to justify why a woman is so powerful. That's why I don't vibe with Rey Palpatine. And then at the end, you have this rejection of Palpatine in favor of Skywalker, again, unhealthily attaching herself to a mentor figure, but also sort of her saying, my parents were good, strong people that sold me, but we're not going to touch on that. My parents were good, strong people, but also at the same time, I'm not going to take their name. I'm going to take this unattached, like this sort of bizarre relationship I have with my mentor.
Yeah, which he never did show her any remorse until Lily, she leaves the planet and he doesn't actually start being a decent human being until the tree goes up in flame. Like
if there had been a communication between them, Force Ghost wise, in 9, like he's talking to Rey, maybe he's talking to Ben, because see you around kid never got paid off. I guess he meant see you in 6 months when you die unceremoniously. But none of Luke's anything was paid off. The only thing that got paid off in 9 for Luke is him fulfilling what they perceived as a slight from 8 because he didn't get to be a badass there. I would argue that facing down the First Order, projecting yourself halfway across the galaxy, is a pretty badass move, but I guess not. Circling back to Rey Skywalker, I feel like her taking on somebody else's name doesn't land when that was her problem in the first place. Was her important attachment to names was what was holding her back. That's her flaw. That's what's unhealthy. And by the end of her saga, she still feels like she can't stand on her own 2 feet. She has to associate herself with someone else. So I understand Daisy Ridley finds it. I get Daisy Ridley finds it satisfying. She worked on these movies for 5 years. These are the movies that launched her into superstardom. And like all of us know, when you work on something, you have a different perspective than somebody
who's passionate about it. Yeah.
You're more attached to this show than the average viewer might be because we work on this show. Do you know what I mean? Yep. I get that Daisy's attached to this movie, to her arc, but also whether or not she is, what is she gonna say? She's a young actress. What's she gonna say? I thought it was stupid. She's never gonna work again. She might actually like it. I'm not here to say she doesn't, but like, what is she gonna say? Like people saying, well, look, she likes it. Of course she's saying she likes it.
Yeah. I guess if she's trying to protect, she's trying to protect a future opportunity with the franchise, she's definitely going to play nice. Because she doesn't want to ruin the chance of coming back. And there are rumors that that there are plans for Rey down the road. But at the same time, she's currently not under contract, as far as we know. No, so but the leash has been lifted.
If you get a reputation as the actor who badmouths your projects, nobody's going to hire you.
You know who didn't play nice? John Boyega. Who didn't play nice? I won't say her name. I won't say who didn't play nice because she shall not be named on this show.
Well, I thought you were talking about how like John Boyega has been very vocal about how he feels that the character of Finn and minorities in Star Wars were treated unfairly. John Boyega was also
very vocal about the fact that he thought he was never going to work again.
Yeah.
So they know, they both know, being in this industry, being a woman, being a person of color, if you get a reputation as being difficult, they're never going to hire you again.
Yeah.
So
John Boyega did the right move, but that is a whole different episode. He did the one thing no one else has ever done and was like, look, you built me up and then you tore me down in front of everyone, right? Yeah. And that is something I could talk about for hours because, and I'm usually not the one to talk anything, that's a heavy topic to have to discuss publicly and live with people, but yeah, he got put to the side even by one of my favorite directors of all time. He just kind of did. So we'll talk about that a different day.
I just also want to back up. I just want to also say one thing that Nick brought up in the chat about Rey finding meaning in Leia's family. Leia makes it pretty clear in Bloodline that, granted, it's a book and it's not on screen, so it's like slightly simple or whatever. She makes it pretty clear in Bloodline she wants absolutely nothing to do with the Skywalker name. Like Luke tells her that Vader came back to the light and she's like, okay, he still tortured me when I was 19, so I don't know about that. She wants nothing to do with it. So she's genetically a Skywalker, sure, but she is an Organa through and through. If Rey was really that attached to Leia, it's Rey Organa. It's not Rey. Not that I think that's better. Not here for Rey Organa either. But if she's that attached to Leia, it's Rey Organa. Because Leia never saw herself as Skywalker. So
I will say this to conclude this conversation. I'm thrilled for anybody who watches the sequel trilogy and falls in love with the franchise and finds heroes and characters to latch on to as a gateway to explore other Star Wars adventures. I think that's fantastic. I think that a lot of the opinions here, and a lot of them are points against the three movies, are incredibly valid. I am someone who I don't understand to this day the OP Rey. I feel like we could have explored that a little bit more and kept Rey as a nobody. Again, to intensify the reasoning behind the fact that you don't have to come from royal bloodlines to change the world around you. I think that's a terrible message, and Arezou so well articulated the reasons behind that. But at the end of the day, Star Wars is Star Wars. It's the silly story that we love to play, the sandbox that we like to play in. And if it allows you into the franchise to have fun, great. But we have opinions here. We stay respectful, and we do a great job with that conversation. I don't mind touting ourselves on the back. Arezou, I thought that was awesome. Very well said. Thanks for kicking ass. I think you're wonderful. Live chat is freaking killing it. JD Slessman, let's talk about Star Wars. We got Pete, we got Alex, Galanori, and Saber. Semper Fi Danny's in the live chat. So good to see you. We also got McLean 1138. We just got a great plethora of faces in the live chat. We're so glad you're with us. If you can, take a moment, thumbs up, share us on the internets, on your social media platforms, wherever you socialize with people, and tell them to join the conversation, because we're going to be here for another half hour, and it's going to be a really good conversation. We're going to hang out, have a good time, and let's go ahead and bring in Marie, because we had some Star Wars comic news this week. And so real quick, we're going to bring in a friend of our show, Marie Wilson from BeyondTheBlastDoors.com live. Hi, Marie. How are we doing, everybody?
Hey, doing good.
We're going to 4-box this stuff so that way everyone can be seen. And that way the lower third isn't covering everyone's bottom half of the mouth. Now everyone's moved. Oh, this is fun because it's like boy girl. Honestly, what we need to do is need to get 4 more people. No, wait. Is my math right? We got 4. We need 5 more people. We could have done that one show.
5 people to do the Brady Bunch.
The Brady Bunch.
You want to do the Brady Bunch? We need 5 more people.
We need 5 more people. Guys, I'm sorry. That was a terrible tangent. I just took this conversation. Frankly, guys, I showed up 5.5 minutes before this show started. The fact that we were is only because Arezou and Scotty display immense patience with me.
Is that it?
We're talking Star Wars comics, High Republic. Arezou is caught up. Scotty is not. I'm somewhere in between those two. So, Marie, what's going on? High Republic comics this week. What's happening?
So Skier the Trandoshan Jedi is losing it. It appears to be that he is mentally being overtaken by the Drengir, which are the plant-like beasties that Arezou talked about a couple weeks ago. So it's like they're psychically controlling him and making him lean towards the dark side, and that's freaking out his former apprentice, Keeve. And things are looking pretty bad because these Drengir they're very, now I will say this, I do want to make this point. They're very Audrey too. At least in the comic book representation of them, they're very Little Shop of Horrors, Audrey 2, which I feel like is a bit derivative, but I mean, it's still an interesting story point, and I'm really curious to see where they go with it. But yeah, basically, you've got right there, one of the twins is feeling his other twin being overtaken by the Drengir, and they have a psychic connection. So now he's feeling it, and they're just everybody's losing their minds, and they're trying to. That's it. See, it looks like Audrey too. So they're just really having a difficult time dealing with these creatures because they are psychically controlling people.
Well, and what the thing that always kind of captures my eye about the High Republic comics so far, and I only understand we're on like, we're less than 5 issues in, but like the art is so bold, very vibrant colors, and I really enjoy that. There might be some folks that have not gotten into the High Republic at all. So so Marie, I really appreciate you explaining who's who, the Trandoshan Jedi, who are the bad guys. I would like to ask this though. Oh, I'm frozen. I'm frozen in time, everybody. That's okay.
We got a stare on the bingo card.
That's a great pose. Well, I'm gonna put Marie back live up real quick, and we'll figure out what the heck's going on with my camera. But I appreciate you explaining all that. Would it be helpful? I feel like I'm having more fun exploring the comics than the books, only because I'm actually seeing these characters. There's so many new characters to explore. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is definitely helpful to visualize these characters because there are so many. And you do see some of the characters from the books in these comics. Like
that's what
Chris is
I was telling that to Arezou earlier, actually, because I was saying I'm having a hard time emotionally connecting with a lot of these characters because they're not characters I don't often see, right? So I'm so used to, like, if I'm reading a story about Thrawn, I can visualize almost everything in that book, but the only person I can really picture is Avar Chris, right? Because she's got a very iconic look. So that's one thing I've been kind of struggling with. Now that you showed me what's it called? Dengar?
Dringear.
Okay, those things look sick. Okay, I didn't know those things existed. Now here I am intrigued again. It seems like every other week I'm like, it's just kind of how it is, right? I don't know. That at least with this series it is for me. I'm not quite sure why. But are they like Islamari or no? What are they? What is the Dringear?
They're like the opposite.
They're not
based on what I know about the Salamiri is like, they suppress the Force.
Yes.
But the Dringear are like so strong with the Force that it freaks out the Sith.
Oh, I love
that. They are scared of how dark these things are. The Sith are scared of them.
That is interesting.
Like the opposite, sort of.
I remember when they did the temporary cover for one of the books. It might have even been that comic book, but they showed the image of it, and I was like, "What is that?" It does look like the plant from a Little House of Horror. So it's just, I don't know. Marie. Oh, I'm sorry, Arezou.
Oh, no, I was gonna say when they announced that as being one of the villains for the High Republic, I'm like, that's got to be for the kids' books because sentient plants don't sound very scary. It's gonna be for like the middle grade for maybe like the IDW comic, but like they are legitimately terrifying.
Wow. I will say, just so if anyone's curious, they just joined the live show. I am EOS Webcam Utility, and I guess I'm like the ghost producer of the rest of the show, which is totally fine. Love this conversation, and I'm. I'm not trying to be like a lazy Star Wars fan, but like everything that you guys just said, and then kind of going back to my point, the comics are just fun because I'm getting that visual stimulus, which is, I guess, why I've always enjoyed the Star Wars movie more than the book or other avenues of storytelling, is because I like seeing the story unfold. When I read Harry Potter books, I got to create that world in my mind. It was large and it was vast and it was incredible. Star Wars is really the only story that I would rather see unfold on the screen and then I go play in. Like I let the films dictate that galaxy for me, where everything else, every other story I consume, I like to create that in my imagination before I go and witness the story on screen. So maybe I'm weird, but I love all the perspectives here. Is there anything, Marie, that we haven't talked about this week in comics that you think people should know about before they grab their comics out on the store shelves if they have not already?
One thing I did want to mention, because I thought it was really interesting, is so this week the IDW High Republic Adventures #2 came out along with High Republic #3, and the Jedi seem to have kind of a not quite matching up view on killing sentience. And that I thought was really interesting. And so I'm curious to see how that'll play out. But in the High Republic Adventures They're like going after the Nile like crazy, just slashing away and wreaking havoc. And then in the and that's the IDW one. And then in High Republic #3, the adult comic, Avar Kriss is very, very, very angry with Skier for having killed that Nile in the last issue. Just one Nile. So I thought that was an interesting point to bring up. It's I'll be curious to see how that kind of matches up as it goes forward.
I think you're absolutely right. And real quick, I'm going to go ahead and just share it on the screen so everybody can see. But coming out next week, Star Wars comics, keep your eyes on it because you're going to have Star Wars Age of Resistance in the deluxe hardback, which I love that style. When they were doing like the Age of Republic, and the Age of Resistance. Well, I guess that would be that's a collection of those issues. But when you had the Age of Republic and Rebellion, those were also really cool issues that they compiled into these hardbacks. So be sure you get this one. This is the third, obviously, Age of Resistance, the third trilogy. You get Star Wars #12 with Charles Soule and Ramon Rosanas. You also have Dr. Aphra, the omnibus from Kieran Gillen to look forward to, which is exceptional. Yeah, that's issues 1 through 40, annual 1 through 3, and Screaming Citadel. Do not hold Screaming Citadel against that. This is a great buy. So be sure you get that. Again, you're getting a lot of not just Dr. Aphra, but Vader's going to pop in that run. It's just a lot of fun. Check it out. That's awesome. And then next week, it looks like Star Wars Insider 201 drops. And then guide to season 1 of The Mandalorian. So a lot of fun to be had here in the Star Wars world of publications. That's what we like to dabble in. And Marie Wilson, as always, thanks for breaking it down. If you want to know exactly what else Marie thinks about this comic, but she didn't give it all away in this, you can always check out her reviews on BeyondTheBlastDoors.com every Wednesday. Marie Wilson, thanks for joining us, friend.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, Marie.
Literally the nicest human being ever. And this is just so weird. I like Scotty and Arezou both look so great. And I have a freaking red X over my utility plug.
If it helps, people listening to this can't tell anything's wrong.
Nope.
They have no keep bringing it up. It's kind of like I have a tramp stamp, which is kind of cool. All right, cool. So let's see here. The next topic on this show, Arezou frowns and Scotty's just like,
I'm in disbelief. It's weird. It's weird to see an error screen talk to me for so long. Usually I get upset with it, or I call someone with AT&T to fix it. So friends, I like that it's here.
I really can't do anything about it. So we're just don't put that full.
Oh, it's fantastic.
All right, hey. So this is the next topic here.
Here we
on
go.
Beyond the Blast Doors Live. And here's the thing. This is new casting in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which gets me really excited. Again, if you've been following the show, you know that this is my most anticipated Disney Plus series, which, is why we're talking about. It's not why we're talking about. We all care about it. But here's the news. Game of Thrones star Indira Varma. Am I saying that correct?
Yes.
Indira Varma from Game of Thrones is set to join Disney Plus's Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Of course, we know that this series stars Ewan McGregor. He's back as Obi-Wan Kenobi. We know Hayden Christensen is back. He's playing Darth Vader. Now, we don't really know what character Varma is playing. It's under wraps. A lot of the details for this series are under wraps. We're probably not seeing this show until 2022, 2023. What's happening?
She said raise grandma, clearly.
Yo, are we looking at Duchess Satine right now on our screen? Is this Duchess Satine?
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
First of all, Duchess Satine's a white lady. 1. 2, she's a blonde white lady, and as somebody with similar coloring to Indira Varma, you make us blonde, and it's a mistake.
Yeah,
2.
Okay.
3, I don't know. Those are my main 2 points. I didn't have a third point. I just leaned into it like I thought I did. It's Satine is a white lady. So just because this is a lady, and I know we're not used to getting a ton of ladies in Star Wars. We have awesome ladies, but
I wasn't trying to be rude.
I know you're not being rude. I'm just saying there's other options.
Oh my
That's
God.
true.
The live chat. Let's bring them up. JD. McLean. Is she Ventress? Oh my
Now,
damn.
Like,
Oh my
Dark
damn.
Dark Disciple wouldn't negate this, would it? Now, someone could tell me. I haven't read the
witches of Dathomir do have resurrection abilities.
Ooh.
Not completely out of the question, but for me, I would like the prominent lady of color to not be slathered completely in makeup and wholly
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have my theory. I want her to be, if she has to be somebody whose name we know, Annalene Caldwell from the Kenobi book.
Interesting. Okay, that's a name I haven't thought about in a long time. Wow, that would be kind of sick.
Pete's like, guarantee she's someone we've never seen before.
I would love that. I would love if
That'd
even if it wasn't Annalene, she's just somebody completely new. That would be like best case scenario. Then Annalene, then Asajj, and then way down.
She's just Aunt Beru, and we don't know why. I'm just kidding. Could you imagine? No, but she's beautiful. I mean, I haven't seen any of her work before, but to get someone new in Star Wars is so refreshing, And for a while, Cara Dune was real refreshing. We were all like, "Yes, I love this," and not so much.
And then we don't love it.
You know what's crazy? So I didn't know this, but Varma has roles in Rome, which is a series that I have not started yet, but I want to really bad. Got that HBO through my Amazon Prime, so I'm going to do that. Game of Thrones, like we mentioned, Carnival Row. She's in ABC's For Life. She's also an exec producer for the UK series Indian Summers, and also starred in Ridley Scott's movie Exodus: Gods and Kings. So she's got a really extensive resume, which is really exciting. It seems like we're in a world where if you have Game of Thrones on your resume, you can do anything you want. Not that means it's compensating for ability as an actor. She's great. But it just seems like Game of Thrones is the golden ticket right now. We're getting a lot of crossover in the Star Wars galaxy from Game of Thrones folks. And so she's just the latest. And it's really exciting to see what character she portrays. I personally would love for it to be a new character. But at the chance that we could have an Asajj Ventress live action, I'll take it. We'll see what happens. I don't know. It could happen.
We could, David. It doesn't have to be her.
Asajj Ventress.
Yeah.
It could be. And I also will say this, Ahsoka Tano doesn't look spitting image of what Ahsoka Tano looks like in the animation. I'm just saying, I think there's a little room for creative differences. I don't know. I think that Ahsoka got to get it tuned up for that live action series, but it's all right.
What do you mean, though?
I think that the LeCue just need to be leaner and longer.
No, I know. I mean, what do you mean creative differences regarding Kenobi?
What do you mean creative differences? Oh, no, I just meant creative differences might not be the right phrase to say. Just freedom, artistic freedom. So Asajj might not be a spitting image of Asajj from the animation because an Ahsoka Tano in The Mandalorian isn't a spitting image of what we get in the animation. I shared that image a few weeks ago on Twitter, how Ahsoka evolves through animation. How you see here at the end of Clone Wars is obviously different than at the end of Rebels. But it's also different from the beginning of Rebels. So making the transition live action, I think that the creators are tasked with how do we make this close but also functional. I understand that if you have an 80-pound LeCue on a woman's or anyone's head for that matter, it's going to be impossible to move around and portray that character. So they did it in a way that would allow her to still do some of the choreography, like jumping around during all the battle scenes. But it just aesthetically, it didn't work for me. So I'm hoping that they tweak it, and they've come out and said that they're going to tweak it. So there you go. Pete, by the way, David has never looked better. Pete, you can go F yourself and you can get out of the live chat. My battery died and I'm butthurt about it. Okay, cool. So what else is going on here? Did you guys hear about Obi-Wan having a reoccurring role in the Andor series? Okay, this is rumor, but yeah, there's a chance. Hold on. There's a chance it's going to happen.
So it's important to address, would this negate all the wonderful things about A New Hope? I don't know. I feel like we're gonna run that well dry. Rogue One had a really good reference when it was that Jedi. Whenever who was it that walked up to Bail Organa? I forget. Arezou. Yep. Get that Jedi that's in hiding. Make sure you get in touch with him. Whatever the exact line was. I mean that your now friend, to Jedi. Me. Yeah. Yeah. So what if we'll just go get Ezra, okay? All right. Or we'll just go get whoever else could be Ahsoka. Like, I don't know. I mean, of course, I'm all about connectivity, but let's keep our Andors and our Kenobis nowhere near each other.
I'm totally with you, Scotty. I'm all about connectivity. My thing, and I'm like agreeing with you here, is that when it always connects back to the same 4 people, the galaxy starts to feel real small. Like if Cassian knows Obi-Wan, why isn't Cassian calling Obi-Wan? Why is Bail calling him? So if it's the tiniest on hand, like, I don't know, Obi-Wan's wandering around Tatooine while Biggs and Tank are signing up for the Navy or whatever, and we just see him.
He's like,
happen to be on the soundstage. Cool, that's cute. We'll be like, oh my god, and then we'll move on. But
what if he's like pickpocketing the merchants, and you see Obi-Wan Kenobi in the background? He's like stuffing bread loaves in his sack.
Oh,
it's like a blink, like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where you're just like sitting up and pointing at the TV and then he's gone.
Yep.
Great. But like a reoccurring role now, it's not Cassian's show. Now it's Obi-Wan's show. And like, as much as I love Mando season 2, that's the trap it fell into, is that a couple of the episodes started to feel like not about Mando anymore.
But guys, the rumors continue, because it might not just be Obi-Wan Kenobi having a appearance on Andor. You also might have Lady Tano making a live appearance, because she's contracted for multiple properties.
Voice appearance. Because she was Fulcrum already, right? I mean, she was already involved.
Cassian was
already involved.
So that one makes sense.
Okay. So there's a lot that's already there, but that doesn't mean we need to have Ahsoka show up and save the day. I mean, not that I wouldn't be happy with that. I think it'd be cool, but we still don't need that.
But maybe like with Ahsoka, like I think what I would be willing to see is, Cassian's on base, he turns on the holotable, and Ahsoka is just standing there elsewhere being like, you need to XYZ, or here's the information you need for this episode, and then she's gone. Like if they're just talking on the phone, because they're both like, I call them Fulcrum agents. I don't know if that's actually what the title is, but because they're both like Fulcrum, they're both spies. Like if they're just communicating, cool. Like it's a little bit of connectivity. If we've got Jimmy Smits there, even better. Like all of that. But if she's got like a reoccurring role where she's doing her Jedi thing while Cassian's supposed to be doing his Rebel thing, again, we're pulling focus off of Cassian, and this is his show.
Now, there's one thing I think we should bring up too. This obviously was something that's been going around, and I think it's important to address it. The whole idea of George Lucas getting a story credit on this is something that obviously was not a legitimate claim. It's 100% not real.
You don't say.
But my brain,
you're kidding me.
Y'all, my brain did start firing off, because this is something that's important to acknowledge. It has been stated, it is on record, you can look up the information on it. There were over 100 scripts written for that Star Wars Underworld show. Now, who's to say we're sitting there watching the first couple episodes of Andor and we see written by George Lucas and whoever he co-wrote that with? Because what they could have easily have done is taken some of those stories and adapted it. I'm not trying to play into the rumors, but Andor to me would be the best way to, take all that backlog and put it into new content, give it new life. Because apparently those ideas got real crazy. Episodes where Darth Vader would show up, Boba Fett would show up. Who's to say that's still not out of the picture for the Andor series, which I'm actually very excited for. I didn't think I would be, but now kind of, letting it simmer, letting myself think about it, we could get really weird with it. Arezou, what's your take on it? Or David? Sorry.
Arezou, go ahead.
Well, I feel like I agree. Like if it's something he co-wrote that they're sort of bringing forward, like from an old thing, I think there's like guild rules about how much of it gets rewritten, and then you lose your story credit because they've taken most of your work out.
51%, I think.
But, yeah, something like that. But somebody pointed out in the JD Sleetsman pointed out in the live chat, and I've seen it pointed out elsewhere too, that if they use the characters he specifically came up with, he gets a story credit. So if it's something like Bail Organa showing up, he'll get the story credit, because I don't think he came up with Cassian, or maybe even not even like Ahsoka. But if it's like Bail, Mon Mothma, like those are his characters. So if they're using them, he gets a credit for it.
I'm all for it.
So it could be as simple as that.
And guys, honestly, it's such a compliment. GTG, and remember to ask about Stars Gaming Saturday. See you later. I swear to Christ, Scotty is paying under the table to this kid with grades.
Alex is getting straight A's this semester for no work at all.
I guess he still has to keep working because he still doesn't have this damn show. Sorry, after the live chat says, "Hey guys, how you doing?" What a clown. I was just going to say that it's such an emotional and complicated situation with George Lucas now in this Disney era because like you had like the name calling thing. I don't want to go into it, but like it just got complicated. But you have had Lucas come back on set on all these stories and see how the technology is evolving and see what they're doing with these characters. How cool would it be though if George Lucas could have his hands that way? He's done before. That's cool, but it'd be cool if he could write or direct something. Maybe they won't let him write, but maybe they'll let him direct it. Who knows? I think it'd be a lot of fun and would allow for that whole thing to come full circle, which was weird. We like the full circle moments. Those are nice. They make us feel good inside, and that's why I raise a Skywalker. Okay, cool. So let's go into.
Jesus.
That's a joke. Oh my god, that was so funny.
You are so lucky the border is closed. I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh. I'm lucky your internet connection blows because I couldn't make out half of what you said, so that's fine. I'm kidding. I heard exactly what you said, and I was a little scared for my life, but it's fine. Honest to God, like the first time, like we can all hang out post quarantine, like I will fly to you. Like I think we get wine, bread, and olive oil, and we just post up.
We'll
for like
steal
3
all of
hours.
it like Obi-Wan. Well, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's in the background, right? Just filling his sack with loaves of bread because he's like, I got to get back out to my hut past Tashi Station. I don't want to come back for this crap.
Stealing though, I don't understand.
Because he's a hermit. He has no money. You think he's ethically able to just go up to that old lady in the market and just be like, "You want to give me this bread?"
A job in the Kenobi book. He doesn't he help Annalene with stuff?
You're not going to eat the rest of that. You're not going to eat the rest of the food on your plate. I just, I'll come up with a chapter. I'll bring it next week. It'll be great. We'll do like, we'll do some casting for it. It'll be awesome. Hey, there's another topic we can talk about though, real quick. Is there anything in the live chat that we should get?
Oh yeah.
No, everyone's just rooting for Arezou this week. Nobody likes David because you can't see David's face. So I'm not a real human. So you can tear him down. You can tear him down like he doesn't matter. Okay, well, you don't matter. Boom. I just put boom. Oh, bye, Semper Fi. What is Semper? She wanted something. What do you feel about the rumors about making Rangers?
Hey.
Oh, well, let's get to that in a second. We're going to talk about. See, we got a couple people producing here. We got things going crazy, but we're going to talk about this real quick. Katee Sackhoff had this great quote. She's talking to Polygon about her character Katee Sackhoff, or about her character Bo Katan. The only reason why I wanted to bring this up is in this article, guys. She is talking about how we don't know everything there is to know about Bo Katan. And in fact, the way that the season 2 finishes up, the quote is, at the end of season 2, we are in a position where we've set ourselves up with our hero to potentially be in conflict. You don't quite know if you're supposed to root for her or not. And I love that. I love that gray area because she's not so black and white. Arezou, let's start with you. The last time we saw Katee Sackhoff's Bo Katan, she needs to get the Darksaber to rule Mandalore, but I think the Darksaber belongs to the Mandalorian. So, like, is she going to be like a fan favorite after this, or is she going to be a bad guy?
Well, she's not black and white. She doesn't have to be either or. I think she's absolutely right because, she sets up her motivation pretty clearly in season 2. Din helps her in season 2. They are allies until the last second when he just kind of shows up with the Darksaber that she's been looking for. And now that has thrown up this whole conflict between them. So like this person she thought she could trust, that she thought was going to help her in her whole cause to reclaim Mandalore, has now become her enemy. So I guess if you're like in the show firmly rooting for Mando no matter what he does, then yeah, Bo Katan's going to kind of become the antagonist for you because she's not, because she's not on Din's side anymore. But both of them have points. Like, I don't even think he realized what he was doing because that's just how Din rolls. But so then it's kind of how do they resolve this conflict? Because she's clearly not willing to just take it from him. So do they actually fight? Is she going to try to kill him?
She did once before. If you watch the animated series,
so hold on.
Like Din though,
but no. The thing is, she's
taken it before.
She's taken it from some beat.
Lost her planet.
There we go.
That's why she thinks these words have power. Like that's why she's not willing to just take it again because she probably felt unworthy. I'm sure everybody else made her feel unworthy because she didn't earn the Darksaber. So to her, it's important to earn it this time. But how far is she going to go with Din? Because I feel like at some point he's going to be like, fine, let's like duke it out. And that'll be like our second to last episode of the season. or even the season finale of the two of them fighting for the Darksaber. So yeah, I feel like Katie's absolutely right.
I want to be heard about it. Scotty, let's go to what Semper Fi threw up in the live chat. How do you feel about this idea that Hera could be replacing another character in Rangers of the New Republic?
Hey, I mean, Vanessa Marshall's great. I love the Star Wars Squadrons Hera we got. I played through that. Really great character. Show up in Squadrons by all means, please. Now, replace Cara Dune. I don't know. Maybe they'll do something different with Cara Dune. We just don't expect. Not the character, but the feel of that character. We'll put her somewhere else. I mean, Arezou knows way more about writing than I do, but I can tell you this much. We know Cara Dune didn't bring that much to the table in terms of weight and in terms of how important she was to the overall story. Maybe they were trying to go somewhere with Rangers of the New Republic and her story, but it easily could be changed, I'd imagine, right? I mean, no, say Arezou. I want to hear your opinion.
No, I was just going to say, I wrote a Mandalorian spec script for practice because this is my job. This is what I do. She lifts out so easily.
Yeah,
you don't miss it. She pops right out. So I feel like the problem though with Rangers is like developing a whole series around her. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if it got pushed back. I feel like they can salvage the concept and they just need to maybe in the new season of Mando, maybe in some other media, sort of set up somebody else to sort of take that lead role. Because Hera's like a general. She's not a cop. I feel like this was supposed to be a cop show.
Yes.
So,
and one thing to address is Favreau was writing that show while Dave was writing Ahsoka. So, and really, if you look at it, Cara Dune feels like a Favreau character way more than a Filoni character, right? Because Din is like, to me, the perfect combination of both their styles of writing and both their styles of directing and characterizing. Whereas Cara Dune felt really, like it played on the being from Alderaan thing. It played on her people died thing. And that's a lot like, what we could say about Tony Stark and a lot of other things that Favreau's been running, even Buddy the Elf, like, he's been abandoned by his people or whatever. Like there's some stuff there, okay?
Never thought I'd see those two compared.
Hey, they can be. See, look, this is what I bring to the table. But they all have their own unique thing, right? I mean, you got to realize Dave gave us Chopper and Dave gave us, a lot of Satine, but he also gave us some really interesting stuff too. So I don't know. I would love if Hera showed up, definitely in the thing. Now, should she replace Cara Dune? I don't think so. She's got too much on her plate, and she's got a kiddo with green ears. So we'll see how that goes.
That kiddo needs to be cared for. Let's go and take. That's right. It was Jason. For some reason, I was saying Janin, like it was Kanan, but with a J, and that's not right. I want to throw this back up there. Pete Fletcher, getting Hera to replace Cara is like lobster to replace a can of tuna, and then human tornado. It's like getting lobster to replace a cup of hot vomit.
Oh boy,
JD. If we get Hera, better get live action Zeb. Listen, if we don't get live action Zeb, we can use my action figures Zeb that I have now from Pete Fletcher. We have Galanorian Saber saying, I think it's more about Bo's reputation than the actual saber. So going back to the Bo Katan conversation, I think that's really fascinating because I think, and Arezou did kind of touch on this too. Bo wants there to be no question this time around that she is the leader of Mandalore and she's going to lead her people. And if it's not obtained, we're talking about the Darksaber. If it's not obtained, the traditional method, then there's doubt. And maybe what's more detrimental to the character of Bo Katan isn't the self-doubt of the people and how she obtained the saber, but it's her own self-doubt and whether or not she is qualified or truly capable of being the leader of this war mentality, this war-minded planet, unless she has it, truly by defeating her enemy. So I love
what does it do to your head when you're running a planet and then, as Boba Fett says, the Empire shows up and turns the planet to glass on your watch? Like, I love that line. They turned it to glass. It's just the image. But like on your watch, the Empire turned the planet to glass and Gideon took the Darksaber. So what does that do to your head? Like that's where she's at right now.
I like that.
Like Dolomite. I'm sorry. I mispronounced your name wrong. I'm so sorry.
No, one thing I want to bring up too, Andy's comment. Now, Andy, this is true to our knowledge. I'm sure it's being written. Rangers has no story. They can do whatever they want. But the one guarantee that was one of the strangest guarantees we got from that earnings call or that update, which I still think might be one of the most important statements they made that whole night. Okay. All of this will build up in culmination to a big event, a big story event, right? That was the hype behind Rangers, Ahsoka, Mando Season 2, and now Book of Boba Fett. They're all going to play into each other and probably build up to a movie. I'd imagine that's what it's going to be, some sort of movie or some sort of giant series. So we know Marvel had been writing movies 6 or 7 years before they came out. Like apparently, which I didn't realize this, a lot of in-games pre-visualizations were being done in 2016 when Civil War released. So if we've got the Feige mantra, the Feige mind at going with Star Wars now, where we got Favreau and Filoni doing 4 different series that are going to build up to an event, all of this has been taken into accountability. They thought about the end product and were like, how do we work towards that? Okay, we each get a show. We both got to handle all of this. So, Andy, I will say, I think all of it, maybe not written down completely, but definitely storyboarded, or definitely, what's the word I'm looking for, Arezou? Not mapped out. There's a way to, there's a better writing. Okay, so all the stories have been a treatment. That's what I'm looking for, right? So, I don't know, Andy, this might actually be a lot further down the line than we think it is. Just wanted to throw that out there.
I like this comment too. I don't know if I want a future where everything converges into an event.
I don't.
Wouldn't it be cool, Arezou? I mean, and talk to me from like, obviously your background as a writer, but like, how fun is that to know that there's like this main storyline, but you get to do a tangent off of that, and your ending hasn't been predetermined for you. Like you can literally explore anything.
So the thing I like about Star Wars, I love the MCU like so much.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about the MCU is after that first big convergence event, then it kind of became the expectation after that every standalone was building to another convergence.
It's true.
And even now with WandaVision, there is that expectation that WandaVision is going to lead into the next one, to the next one, to the next one, to some sort of convergence down the line. That's never been Star Wars. Star Wars, granted, was just the Skywalkers for a while. And then, when we got the EU, which was just a whole web I'm not going to touch. But like even with these books that we have now, they're all vaguely offshoots. They're either happening parallel or they're so isolated that it's the same world, but it doesn't really tie back. It'll be like, we're talking about a lack of resources on a planet. We all know it's the Death Star, but that's got nothing to do with the story being told. Yeah. So they're not... The only events that everything is building to are the events we've already seen. And like Lost Stars is a great example because that happens directly parallel to the events of the original trilogy. Lost Stars Thane and Sienna never converge with the main events.
Mm-hmm.
So if all of this is sort of just happening, then that's fine. But it's sort of happening around the same time. I mean, but I don't like the idea of a convergence either.
See, the only reason why I like it is because I'm a sucker for stuff like this. Like, since I was a kid, I just really am. And I don't know if it's because it might be Marvel culture, which I really like. And I think the coolest thing about Star Wars now, as regards to what it used to be, I like this no signal sign. So the thing I like about it now is that, if you miss out on a movie, you miss out on probably a big chunk of the next movie or the understanding of the next movie. But that's one thing I've been liking about Star Wars recently is I've had to connect the dots for people. And I kind of like connecting the dots for people. That's why I'm a teacher. So my uncle's looking at me and he's like, what the heck was that? And it is the end of season 1 of Mando. He's like, what the heck was that black lightsaber? And I was like, look, if you watch the animated series, you'll be caught up. And then Here we go. We're in season 2, and it makes a huge role of season 2. And what does Moff Gideon do? Well, to make it easier, he connects the dots for you. He's like, well, you don't know about the Darksaber. It's this, it's the weapon of your ancient people. Like literally, that's one thing I think is important is that, yes, we can have a culmination. We have a big event that is led up to, but you're right. You're very much right. Let's not rely on that. Let's make these other stories still really good so we don't have to say, all right, let's go see this 3-hour movie and have it all make sense.
If you're firmly committed to I don't know if Andor is going to build up into that because his plot kind of ended in Rogue One, but
yes,
if you're firmly committed to Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka and Book of Boba Fett and Mando, culminating in a one and done event. Ahsoka, 1 season. Rangers, 1 or 2 seasons. Boba Fett, 1 season. And then Mando, we know, is a little more popular, so that one goes on. But if they commit to a one and done convergence, I'm okay. But if they set that up to be the new standard, that's where I have a problem. Like, look at what happened with Marvel after the first Avengers. I know a lot of people like sort of the back half of Phase 2. All of Phase 2 to me is setting up Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Exactly.
None of those really stand very well on their own.
Not at
Well, let's
all.
go ahead and bring this back to Star Wars real quick. I think all valid points. But,
I'm just saying, like, this might happen to Star Wars, is the story individually will be sacrificed in service of the next convergence event, and that's what I'm worried about happening.
I get
that's
it.
a great point. And also, this is Watto.
Yes, it is.
I just thought that this would be a fun reference to something else that happened on the network. I guess it's an inside joke that's pretty freaking lame. Hey, inside jokes, bring Cad Bane back. That's what we push here on Beyond the Blast Doors Live. I need a hug. I thought I thought I fixed my battery, and I didn't. So, hey, we're at 9:00 Central Time. We hit that hour mark. So real quick, guys, we had some folks tweet us some questions, and so let's rifle through these. Let's give them some love because they took the time to reach out to us. And then we're gonna blast out of here because it's a Wednesday night, and some people got to work tomorrow. I don't. I'm off. I'm going. I'm going to run. I'm going to lift. It's going to be 55 degrees. I might walk around with my shirt off, get some vitamin D. Who knows? Matthew Harrington reached out, tweeting at B2BD Star Wars. Do you think Salacious B. Crumb survived the barge explosion in Return of the Jedi? And if he did, what are the chances we see him in the Book of Boba Fett? I hope the little fella jumped ship and survived. Hashtag get Salacious B. Crumb in the Book of Fett. Arezou, I want to start with you on this.
Didn't you say that the little monkey lizard in Mando was Salacious B. Crumb? Didn't somebody say that?
I don't know.
Like Dave,
I don't
maybe?
think so.
No, that would be
that up.
hysterical. I just assumed he got skewered on the barge crash.
I'm pretty sure he barbecued, but
yeah,
like rotisserie chicken style. No one survived that, right? Like everyone died, or didn't we just have a character?
Well, Bib Fortuna, he showed up, and then
he wasn't there though, was he?
He was in the Book of Boba Fett, right?
He was. Well, he was on the barge. He was
definitely on the barge. Yeah, he's there because
Boba.
Yeah, on the barge at all. I just assumed he stayed home.
Well, there's a bunch of people actually, if you really think about it, and if you look in the background, obviously, if you look in the background of the Book of Boba Fett, we actually end up getting, the lady with the hair, the singer for the special editions, and the orange dress, the orange pantsuit thing, whatever you would call it. She was in the background of that Book of Boba Fett scene, obviously. So Salacious Crumb, I wouldn't say is out of the ordinary. I would like that. Would he play a big role? No, I hope he doesn't. Bib Fortuna didn't, but he did for 2 seconds. That's about it. So I'm iffy on it. Let's get more Kawaki and monkey lizards. Now, do we have to get the same one each time? Not really. It sounds like when we're talking about casting.
It's a tiny galaxy.
Get his son,
The Max Rebo band did not survive the barge from Andy, and we're all really bummed about it. We're all really bummed about it, and that's why we perennially put this PNG of Watto up on screen.
Put him in it. You never know.
Hey, we have another question into us. This is great. This is from Francisca Bustas, and she asks us, do you think we will see Ben Solo again in a comic, movie, or in a novel?
Oh, no.
Alive or Force Ghost? I don't care.
Alive. Back alive. I want him back alive. I want my boy back.
I love ours.
Bring him back. Forget Cad Bane. Hashtag bring Ben back.
You mentioned it, so we got to let you know that hashtag bring Cad Bane back is an effort here on Beyond the Blast Doors Live. Here's my thing. Does he at least get a speaking role more than...
Okay, that ow carried so much more meaning than any line of dialogue Cara Dune has ever uttered.
Yes!
So, first of all. Second of all, Francisca, yes. I want him back.
Yeah.
I want him back so badly.
I
want him back alive. None of this ghost nonsense. It's not romantic or cute when a 29-year-old shows up as a ghost.
What would be kind of cool is remember those animated shorts that we got a year and a half ago?
The Ball?
No, remember they were like minute little features.
Horses of Destiny. Galaxy of
Adventures. Yes. That's the one.
That's what they bring back.
What if you got like that animation style and you could do like an animated something with Ben Solo? Like, I think I would have liked the Ben Solo comic from Charles Soule a lot more if it would have been like a 2D animation type of thing. The comic just didn't work for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it'd be cool to fun it. I think animation would be a fun way to explore that character more. Maybe the more cost-effective way to do it would be through comic. I think that there's so much to Ben Solo that we just kind of got screwed out on. Great that he sacrificed himself. I don't know. I'm just so mixed. Mixed.
It's great that he was willing to sacrifice himself. I'm not taking that from the character. I think that was awesome. But like I've said it before, there's nothing romantic about a 29-year-old dying without ever seeing his mother again when that's all she wanted. That's not fun, especially when we know retroactively that the 29-year-old had had voices in his head the whole time. Yeah. Also not cute. Like it's the easy story to just kill off the bad guy, but he was never Vader. He was never the guy whose helmet is only removed in the last 5 minutes of the movie.
That's a good point.
He was made a sympathetic figure, an hour into The Force Awakens, just by seeing his face, by seeing he's younger than we thought, by seeing he's got a connection with Rey. He's the son of our heroes. So I feel like if you bring him back in something pre-sequel trilogy, it's sort of like the thing that breaks my heart about Han and Leia now when you see them in the OT, is that they're all happy and hugging and I love you, I know. It's like, that's great. Did you know your son's going to die before he turns 29 years old and you never see him again? That's sort of infected the way I watch them now. So watching baby Ben Solo, I'm like, it's like in Last Shot. I know I keep going back to the books, but little 3-year-old Ben Solo running around trying to hug Chewie and his uncle Wanwo and all that. And he wants Papa to come home. That's so much worse now. It was so cute in November 2019. It's heartbreaking now.
Rip. Let's go on. We got one more question left. And this comes from a really good friend of, I think, all of us. Neil is one of the best people out there. And he sent this question to us. He says, hi, do you want Star Wars to always be escapism and not sprinkle real world into it? May the Force be with you, Neil. I think this is really interesting. And I thought this was a good one to close on, because here's the thing. I've always kind of found Star Wars to be what Lucas has said, for all these years, which is, in a way, Star Wars is a reflection of our reality. And he was definitely influenced by real world events to tell his story. I think that we like to keep the focus the story. I think that sometimes there's controversy. Kelly Marie Tran, John Boyega, the latest with Gina Carano. And, sometimes it's I guess if I'm coming from a Star Wars YouTube amateur podcast perspective, sometimes they're issues bigger than Star Wars that you just feel like you have to talk about, because if you don't talk about it, you're kind of sheepish, And so I would always like to say that I at the core of it, I just like Star Wars to be Star Wars. I like to laugh with people. That's why I love doing this with Arezou and Scotty so much, is because we laugh about it. We give each other trouble about it, and it's a lot of fun, and it's pure in that sense. But, when you're watching a story that in a way is based on our reality in a lot of ways, it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I understand it, but there's a lot of points of Star Wars that feel very familiar. It's like deja vu, but everyone's wearing robes and swinging laser swords. But I think we can all connect to something. We're like, oh, yeah, we have seen this before. So am I off base here, Scotty? I'll go to you on this one.
I want Arezou to go first, actually, David, if you don't mind, because I think she might be formulating her ideas, or maybe already formulated it, because I guess I could say one thing real quick. Yeah. One part of it, yes, it should be real. One part should be escapist. Now, movies, let's say Parasite, for an example. Amazing movie. Hopefully most of y'all have seen it. Now, I'm not going to spoil it, but a lot of it has to do with classism and what it means to be two different classes of people in a certain society. Now, it was very upfront with that movie, as it should be, but it also shows the horrors of classism and how you can have classism literally in your own environment and not even know it, right? So the reason I'm saying that is I watched that movie, I got that out of it, I got a good story out of it, and I left really reflecting on that. I love Star Wars because it helps me reflect on tangible things, family problems, anything like that, anything Star Wars. What is war? Why do we have it? Well, who's funding who? I mean, all these things TLJ did so well. I left thinking about those themes. Now, I was escaping to a different world while kind of rooted in reality. Now, if they showed up and they were like, this bad guy's name is Darth George Bush, I'd be like, yeah, you've already ruined it for me. But you know what I mean? Don't shove it in my face, but give me something I can leave with and reflect on, right? I mean, Arezou, I'd imagine you're on the same idea.
100% in the same boat. And like, my thing is every piece of media will always reflect the world it was made in, whether or not that was intentional. Some people will do that intentionally, and they'll put, like George Lucas putting in very clear parallels to like whatever he did in like the original trilogy. All of them are out of my head right now. But let's take like the Phantom Menace as an example, because that was first one I saw in theaters. Love the Phantom Menace. So let's take that. Just on Tatooine. We don't even have to leave Tatooine to get an example of this. We have the pod racing, which is escapism at its finest. You are watching a race car with spaceships on a big screen, and that's awesome. And then you have this plot with like Qui-Gon and Shmi and Anakin, where it becomes clear as you get older that they're saying that well-meaning people like Qui-Gon Jinn don't always have the means or even the inclination to help people when it's in their purview. He can't do anything for Shmi. He can't take her off of Tatooine. Does he want to? Maybe. Does that go against the mandate for why he's there in the first place? It does. So he's kind of like stuck. He's kind of trying to do maybe the best he can, but maybe he could have tried harder. And that's the question we wrestle with, is that we, like, as good people, like how far do we go to help? How much can we do? And to the point being made in the comments, not everybody has the privilege to put reality aside for a minute, which is a whole other aspect. So when you say like, don't bring politics into Star Wars, and there is that refrain that Star Wars has always been political, but it goes beyond just the direct politics of the galaxy far, far away. Like, everything about this story is real world political in the comparisons they make, in the allegory, even like in elements of the plot, like I just mentioned, like, good people maybe not helping as much as they could have, or something like that. So
I think it's all really good points, and I don't know if there's really a wrong answer. I mean, it kind of goes back to the core of like, art is subjective, right? But I think that I don't know. I think the cool thing about Star Wars now, it's been bumpy, but we're starting to get to a point where everyone can see themselves in that story. And I don't know, I'm into that. So I'm into the inclusion aspect of that, the diversity of it. But I also definitely want Star Wars to continue to feed off of our reality, because I think that's what allows it to hit home to me. Maybe not so much on the nose as like Obi-Wan Kenobi quoting George Bush, as has been referenced already. But you know what? Hey,
when did he quote George Bush?
On Mustafar, Revenge of the Sith. Oh,
Anakin.
no, Anakin quote him. Yeah, if you're not with me, then you're my enemy or whatever. And then he throws the first pitch out against the New York Yankees like George Bush did. All right, well, hey, this was like a good time. This was good. And I always like those conversations. Great question from Neil. I always like the opportunity where we can take it larger than just like a movie on screen. And it's always really fun. And I love the perspectives that we share here. I love the perspectives that folks share with us in the live chat. Love the perspective that folks share with us in the comment section. Be sure, in like 28 seconds, you hit the refresh button, and you be sure you comment on this video, your favorite moment of tonight's episode. A lot of great moments, a lot of great real talk. And that way we can just continue this Star Wars conversation. You can't see me, so I don't have really anything left to say. Arezou, you're big on screen right now. So is there anything you want to drop before we get out of here?
I wear a mask. I don't.
Oh, that was good. That was good. That was good. Scotty, what about you?
We're almost there, but we're not quite out of the woods yet.
Yeah, not quite out of the woods yet. I would say we got 6 more months to we're like pretty much there. So no Bombad cast tomorrow. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Paul just showed up in the chat. Sorry. No more Bombad cast at least for tomorrow. Sorry, didn't mean to cut us off there. Only because Jerry and I are both dealing with some situations right now. I will not be in town. Jerry is currently setting up a new studio. So look forward to that, people. That's
friends. It's been a lot of fun. Everyone in the live chat, you have been so much fun. Shout out to Paul Stanley. Is that really Paul Stanley? That's not Paul Stanley.
My neighbor. It's my neighbor, Paul Stanley. He just said, I love Ray Skywalker. Just letting you know.
Keenan Junkie, Pete Fletcher. Let's talk about Star Wars. Everyone's been so much fun. JD, McLean, some new faces, some familiar faces, and we're just happy that we get to celebrate Star Wars with you on this incredible journey, which is Beyond the Blast Doors live episode 1010. Not 1010, it's just 110. As always, Wednesday nights. The time changes whenever we can do the show. Honest to God, life's super busy. There's a global pandemic. I lived through a derecho like 6.5 months ago. You don't know what that is. Basically, it's an inland tornado that created $13 billion worth of damage that no one in this blasted country knows about because our governor may or not just have made a terrible mistake with leadership, and also is lifting the ban of mask wearing in businesses like a week ago. But Iowa didn't get any crap. Texas is getting a lot of crap for it. Texas right now is like a really bad joke where your friend leans over and is like, too soon. You know what I mean? We don't get political on Beyond the Blast Doors Live. We just like to have a good time. We'll see you guys soon.